You don't break it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we are not starting the city
behind that.
council meeting quite yet, but we are going to go online. So if there's anybody that is wanting to watch the council meeting, that they're able to do it. But we need to first swear in 3 brand new council members and 1 returning council member, so that we have them all sworn in when we actually get started with the meeting. So I am going to turn this over to former mayor, current Judicial District Court Judge, Jonathan Judd. So Judge Judd, please go ahead and swear in our new council members.
All right, and then I just want to confirm, so we can make this legit, do we have soon-to-be Councilmember Moore? Because I can't see her, but I want to see
She
her
is online, yes. One of
right.
our council members had a previously planned vacation, and so she is not in town, but she will be sworn in virtually and will be attending the meeting virtually.
Awesome, thank y'all very much. Okay, so what we're gonna do everyone together. So after I say "I," just say your name, and then I'll try to get my cadence down. All right. So with that, please pronounce after me. Raise your right hands. I do solemnly swear that I will support and comply with the Constitution of the United States of America,
of the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the State of Minnesota,
of the State of Minnesota,
the Charter, laws and ordinances
laws and ordinances
of the City of Moorhead,
of the City of Moorhead,
and that I will faithfully discharge
that I will discharge
the duties delegated to me
the duties delegated to me
as Ward, insert your number,
as Ward 2
council member of the City of Moorhead,
council member of the City of Moorhead,
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
Congratulations, everyone.
She's already gone. Oh, she's gone. Never mind.
Oh, could you put Emily's picture, please, back up on the screens so that her beautiful face can be included? Thank you.
Thank you.
So Emily, you'll want to keep smiling because they are taking a lot of pictures of you. All right.
Thanks.
And again, congratulations to our 3 new council members and our returning council member. And thank you very much, Judge Judd, for coming back and doing these swearing in ceremonies every time that we need you. I think you are the perfect candidate for it, having served in this position before. So with that, it is January 13th, 2025. It is 5:33 p.m. And with that, I will call the Moorhead City Council meeting to order. Could I get a roll call, please? Ryan Nelson.
Here.
Nicole Matson.
Here.
Heather Niesmeyer. Here. Emily Moore.
Here.
Deb White. Here. Lisa Borgen. Here. Sebastian McDougall.
Here.
Chuck Hendrickson.
Here.
Mayor Shelley Carlson. Here. And for those who are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. All right, and do we have any amendments, City Manager Molly?
We have no amendments to the agenda tonight, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move, Niesemeyer?
Second, Nelson.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, for new council members, anytime somebody is attending virtually, we have to do a vote by roll call. So, and that is for every roll call. So with that, could I get a roll call, please?
Nelson?
Aye.
Mattson?
Aye.
Niesemeyer?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Oregon?
Yes.
McDougal?
Aye.
Hendrickson?
Aye.
Right, that motion carries. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is a recognition of Moorhead Award winner for January, Kevin Hansen. I'll turn this over to Ms. Lisa Bodie.
Good evening, Mayor Carlson and council members. I'm here to present or to share the background on the Moorhead Award winner. Tonight is Kevin Hansen. Kevin is the president and CEO of Gate City Bank, and we're honoring him especially tonight for his service on the Moorhead Metro Area Transit Coordinating Board. He's been an at-large member, and he's been the chair for 17 years. His leadership and dedication toward public transportation make Moorhead a better place to live. He constantly advocates for accessible and reliable public transportation in Moorhead. And it's probably an unknown service to the community that he served in this role so quietly but so well for that 20-year period. Lori Van Beek, our former recently retired transit manager, wrote his nomination. And in the nomination, she stated that Kevin has helped to guide MAP Bus through many changes over the years. The MAP board was originally formed to oversee the development of a joint maintenance and storage facility and the transition of each city's transit department into what is now a unified entity. In 2007, the service moved into the jointly owned Metro Transit Garage in Fargo. This allowed staff to manage the system together, providing a seamless and reliable experience for our passengers. Many milestones progressed after that, including the allocation of millions of federal dollars for capital improvements through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, rebranding the system to MAT Bus, expanding service into Southeast Moorhead and increasing evening and Saturday frequencies, and guiding the transit reorganization study that would ultimately dissolve the MAP board. So he served until the board dissolved. So thank you, Kevin, for your longtime dedication to public transportation for the city of Moorhead. You've made a significant difference in the lives of many. This is also an opportunity to thank Kevin and Gate City Bank, the organization, for the many other contributions the bank makes to our residents, businesses, and the city of Moorhead, including our partnership on the Neighborhood Impact Program, community-oriented business and residential lending, and Moorhead is very, very fortunate for Kevin's leadership. So with that, Mayor Carlson, you can present an award. And Lori is here tonight too, and maybe could be part of some of the pictures.
So we'll look up here first, and then we can move over. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Yoga, yoga, yoga. Yoga, yoga. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Caleb, do you want to?
Yeah.
You know the routine. Thank you.
And then looking over here. Sorry, one more. Looking this way. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, sure.
Well, first of all, thank you to Lori for nominating me. You know, when I started, the reason they chose me was that I lived in Moorhead and worked in Fargo, so I was a neutral person in between the two fights. And I have to say, it's been a great experience. I really appreciated Lori. You think about it, there were 2 counties, 4 cities, 2 states, federal governments, and Lori just really did that. And it took me 17 years to figure out how she did any of those proposals she did for federal funding. So again, thank you so much for honoring me. It's been an honor to do that, and I appreciate the honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I think it just epitomizes the character of somebody who's winning a Moorhead Award, that you said absolutely nothing necessarily about you, but you said it all about Miss Lori Van Beek. So thank you for your years and years of service. MetroCog is one of those things that really, truly helps to make our community run and gets people where they need to go. So thank you. Moving on to our next presentation, I will turn this over to City Manager Molly.
Thank you, Mayor. So tonight we have a presentation from Dan Farnsworth, who's with the Metropolitan Council of Government. He's been there a longtime friend, has worked on any number of studies and different projects with our communities in Moorhead. The last time we did a Safe Routes to School plan for our region was 2009. And so just want to thank you, Dan, for the level of engagement and approach that you've taken on this and many other projects in regards to engaging on this one in particular, students, parents, neighborhoods, the general community, the survey, and the different research methods used to collect and put together great presentations. I understand maybe you'll be sharing what the process looks like for a community-wide kind of approval of the plan tonight and kind of what to expect and what it entails. So I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Dan, and thank you, Mayor and council members. I'll keep this pretty brief. I'm shooting for about 5 minutes or so. I know there's a lot of other items on the agenda, but let's see. I'll make sure there's a clicker. I'll just point to you. All right. So next slide, please. So just a little background on Safe Routes to School. MetroCog's done a fair number of Safe Routes to School plans. Most recently, the DGF Safe Routes to School plan. This one is quite interesting and fun to do. There's more schools involved here. A quick background on Safe Routes to School. It is a national initiative to make walking and biking to school safer, more convenient, and fun for students grades K through 8. There's been a significant decrease in students choosing to walk or bike to school, or maybe their parents choosing that's best not for them to do that in the last few generations. You can see in 1969 there were 48% of students would walk or bike to school. Now it's down to 14% or 17% depending on the year. So not as many, but there's some great benefits to students walking and biking to school. They arrive more alert. They have better test scores. It helps with physical and mental health as well. Next slide, please. This plan was a collaboration effort by the Moorhead Public Schools, City of Moorhead, Partnership for Health, and MetroCog. So we worked with all the principals in the Moorhead Public Schools, and then we had other partners as well. And as Dan mentioned, that the last plan that was done for the City of Moorhead for Safe Routes to School was 2009. This study was initiated by the request of the city. I believe it was the engineering department wanting to see how to make some crossings safer in Moorhead. And one advantage of a study like this is that it provides the jurisdictions and the school district with better chances for grant funding because it's in a plan and it can be identified. Next slide, please. A quick layout of the plan, if a person's going through it, I think there's a link to it in your staff memos there. And so there's an introduction, then there's public engagement, which if you really want to dive into the public engagement, there's the appendix of the report too, which I'd recommend looking through that if you want. And then the heart of the study is really the schools. I show elementary schools, but it's elementary and middle school there. And so there's recommendations for each school and surrounding neighborhood there as well. And then there's citywide opportunities. What can the city do as a whole, to maybe improve biking, walking to school? And then there's programs that the schools can get involved with. And then lastly, there's the implementation and funding opportunities that you all can take advantage of. Next slide, please. I won't go into this too much because there's a lot there, but I'll just mention that we did public involvement. We mostly we were at Horizon Middle School because a lot of the parents go to that school for different events, and so we got a total of 138 responses from the online engagement, and then 322 at the in-person engagement that we had. So we were happy to see that, and we received some really good feedback. Next slide, please. Just a little results of the public engagement that we did. You can see the green bars there are things that can be controlled technically, but then in the blue ones are things that maybe you can't control, like the weather. You can see the top concern that we heard from parents and the public was traffic speeds. Obviously, that's a concern for parents with little kids or any children. And then the next thing was distance. So some schools are pretty far to get to, especially if you think of the middle school, for all the students going there. And then weather, we can't control that, but we know that can be a little bit of a concern for your parents. And then intersection safety was another item that we heard a lot from parents as well. Next slide. Here's just an example of the recommendations part of the study for each school. This example is Robert Asp, and you can see it's a little hard to see there, but those circles there are recommendations at those locations, and they're numbered 1 through, in this case, 6. And then there's a corresponding table that says, you know, what could be done there to improve this area. Next slide, please. I'll just give you an example of one location here. This is also Robert Asp. Here's an intersection here that we noticed had some concerns and some complaints from parents, and also we noticed that as well when we were out there. Looks like the computer's rebooting or something. There we are. And so there's quite a bit going on here, and you can see there's a corner there, and so there's cars navigating that corner. Meanwhile, there's cars turning into that driveway, which you can see right to the right side of your screen. Meanwhile, there's a crosswalk there, and then the crosswalk ends up in the grass on one location, and then there could be curb cuts there to also help those with disabilities and those riding on bike as well. So we came up with three different alternatives for this one that could be considered, and those would be the next 3 slides. Keyword, could be. All right, this one here is just an alternative where it could be a raised intersection there, keeping the driveway where it is, and then restriping the crosswalk and allowing curb cuts on those 2 ends to allow for those with disabilities to cross and not be too close to the driveway. The raised crosswalk could slow down traffic as people are going around that corner. Next slide is there could be a driveway that could be moved and have more of a T intersection. That could be a one-way driveway into the school parking lot. And restriping the crosswalks there with curb cuts. And then the third alternative there could be perhaps removing that driveway for the school and consolidating it to the one driveway on the west side. So you can see that would be more of a traditional intersection there. And then recommendations, probably the thing that we heard the most, and you know, it could be also because there's a lot of parents with students in middle school, but we heard that 34th Street, this is Horizon Middle School, 34th Street, we heard the most concerns about. Students trying to cross that, whether it be at 12th Avenue or at Ridgewood Boulevard. So in this slide here, I'm just showing Ridgewood intersection there. Currently, there's not a cross, there's not any kind of a beacon to notify traffic that people are crossing there, and it's 40 miles an hour with a curve to the south. So that was something we heard a lot about from the parents, and then not just for going to school, but also, say, walking your dog too. So one of the recommendations here is to improve that crosswalk, and then to the north side, even at 12th Avenue, if there's a project in the future, maybe a pedestrian tunnel could be applied for some grants. It's not cheap, but if grants are available, that would be an option. I believe that might be about the last slide. I guess there's one last slide, and it's just citywide opportunities could be, there could be continuous, I know it's a continuous thing as improving intersections and crosswalks. So there's a 2018 ADA transition plan. So the city refers to that, I'm sure, and they can continue to refer to that to see what locations should be the top priorities for implementing improvements at curb cuts and sidewalks. Shared use path infrastructure, trails, the city has done a great job with that, so keep that up. Enforcement, that's something that jurisdiction can never get enough of, and it never hurts to have enforcement, and the city's doing as best they can with resources. We all know that's not easy either, but just enforcing speed zones, things like that. Street crossings, there's improvements that could always be done there, making sure crosswalks are restriped on a regular basis so they're visible. Curb cuts, bulb outs is what they're called, kind of example there in the red. You can see that can slow down traffic at the intersections. And then as far as speed limits around the schools, you can just make sure that everything's up to date as far as the school zones. And then for demonstration projects there too, that's a picture of a demonstration project, which the City of Moorhead has done at least one demonstration project a few years ago on Center Avenue. So those are always cheap ways of finding out how well certain projects will work before actually footing all the money for the project itself. So with that, I don't want to take up too much more time. Plus, I'm zipping over to the Moorhead School Board after this for the next presentation. So be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Farnsworth. Considering that you have to go, I'll allow for just maybe a few minutes of any questions or comments if any council members have any. Councilmember Hendrickson? No? Okay, I'm sorry, I thought you had your hand. Councilmember White.
Thank you, Mayor. Dan, this is a great report. There's so much valuable information in there, and I'm looking forward to seeing that, as we work towards implementing these things over the next few years. One of the things I wanted to touch on is you talked about some of the issues that folks brought up, and I know weather and safety came up a lot, and as you mentioned, and it says it in the report, that's weather you think of as uncontrollable, but there's a lot of safety issues that are weather related that are also some things that we should be thinking about this time of year with the city. In particular, I think about when sidewalks aren't maintained, and I don't know how much that specifically came up, but I see that a lot where either people are slipping and falling or they're choosing to go in the road. I'll see kids walking in the road instead of being on the sidewalk. And I know in terms of that aspect of enforcement, that's something that that we can continue to get the word out and work on enforcement of that, because that really does, that this time of year, things that could make it safer and encourage people to get out, they're hindered because of the fact that we don't always have accessible sidewalks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, was that a?
Oh, sorry. I can follow up with that too. And that's a very tough one that cities have to deal with, is making sure that the sidewalks are cleared of snow. Like I said, last plan we did was a DGF, Safe Routes to School plan, and we kind of gave them some kudos on one program that Dilworth started up probably 10 years ago. I think it's called Shovel Dilworth, where volunteers can volunteer to shovel sidewalks of those who may not be able to, maybe they're elderly or whatever the reason is. And I'm not sure the status of that, but that seemed to be a pretty neat idea. Enforcement is an option on that, but also just encouragement and notification is probably just as good or better, I'd say. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilmember Niesemeyer.
I am curious if continued work is going to be done, or if we are now going to set this forth once the community approves it. I know in Ward 2 we have a number of schools, and it's really great to be able to address and hand that report and say this is what could happen. I think that's sometimes where citizens get really concerned about things going up on the shelf. I see a lot of opportunity to collaborate with the Moorhead Area Public School District, as well as moving some of these things forward as soon as possible. But I'm curious if MetroCog's sort of community outreach ends here, and once it's approved, after you buzz off to the school district meeting and do a variety of other things, I'm curious what next steps for engagement and moving forward are.
Right, that's a great question, and that's one thing that I'm really concerned about, is seeing plans sit on the shelf. We've had that happen, and it's discouraging. And so this is the point where we hand it off now to the city and then also to the school board. So there's a section in here where the school board can help with the program side of things and also coordinate with the city. And then this is also the part where the city can take this. They're the ones who asked for it, and they're the ones who we hope can implement the recommendations. And we don't expect all recommendations to be implemented. We have them prioritized by, I think it's near term, far term, and medium or something. So anyway, I do expect the city would. I've heard some, at least for, some grants at this point. The case with the DGF one is that a lot of things did get implemented, and I'll give kudos to the Moorhead School Board. Some of the schools who've actually implemented things before this plan's even done, and so that was amazing. And so I'll be giving them some kudos as well for implementing some of these recommendations before the plan's even approved. So I hope that gets approved, gets implemented.
I appreciate that context and want to encourage citizens and residents to continue to reach out to your elected officials to ask about details that are highlighted in this plan and encourage us to move forward with as many as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farnsworth, for attending and coming to the council meeting to give us this information. I'll let you go because I know you have to get across town to the next meeting to give this information out. And I appreciate that you gave the link so that people can go to the website to find out more information and get more of that detail if they would like to.
All right. Thank you all.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the approval of the December 9th, 2024 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved, Deb White.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, if I can get a roll call vote, please.
Nelson?
Aye.
Mattson?
Yes.
Niesemeyer?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Borgen?
Yes.
McDougal? Hendrickson?
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries. Do we have any citizens in the audience who wish to address the council at this time? Again, any citizens in the audience who wish to address the council at this time? Seeing none, moving on to number 8A, I would be looking for a motion to approve appointment for the mayor pro tem and mayoral appointments to committee, boards, and commissions.
So move, Niesemeyer.
Second, Nelson.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mattson?
Yes.
Niesemeyer?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Borgen?
Yes.
McDougal?
Aye.
Hendrickson?
Aye.
Nelson?
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. And we do not have any public hearings tonight, so moving on to 11A under Engineering Department. And I will turn this over to Mr. Tom Trowbridge, our city engineer.
Hello, Mayor and members of council. I'm pleased to be here to talk about our 10.5 Street North project. I'll start by just saying that this is a type of action that a lot of times we would just have as a consent agenda. And we just thought it would be a good time to go through it quickly just to cover the process so that you are fully aware of how we do these projects when we do them. So the actions that we're doing tonight are, there's two specific resolutions. One is to receive a report, order plans and specs, and call for a public hearing on street and utility improvements. And then the other would be to approve the plans and authorize the ad for bids. These items we have to bring to you because state law, if we're going to use special assessments to finance a part of a public improvement project, there's a very specific set of things we have to do. Typically, it started with receiving petitions or ordering a report. And in any case, we're supposed to have a report that the council receives. The petition is optional. We don't have to have that. If it's a new housing subdivision, we'll typically get that because we have one property owner that wants to use the city financing to be able to build their improvements. Most other projects, we're redoing a street in front of somebody's house. They're not thinking they can petition and ask us to do their street and assess the cost to them, but that's usually not something they're thinking about. They're just assuming that the city's gonna handle the infrastructure, and if something needs to be done, we'll propose it. And that's usually what happens. If we get petitions from 100% of the property owners, it streamlines the process. That only happens with new housing subdivisions. If we get greater than 35%, so if we get 100% petitions, we don't have to hold a public hearing before ordering the improvements. If we get greater than 35%, the council can order the improvements by a simple majority vote of the full council. If we have less than that, which is what most of our projects are, then we have to bring it to the council, hold the public hearing, and when you order the improvements, it has to be a supermajority of the council. 80%, which 80% of 8, 6.4 rounds it up to 7. So we have to have a very strong majority of the council to order the improvements. So leading up to that, and the order of some of these things is a little bit interchangeable. Like, for example, the petitions can be received late in the process. We don't have to receive them up front, but logically that's when we would normally get them. Okay? The first thing you would have to do is to order the report. The state law requires that the city engineer prepare a report that finds out if the improvements are necessary, cost-effective, and feasible, whether or not they should be constructed on their own or in connection with some other improvement, and we have to have a reasonable estimate of the cost for you. These are all good things for you to have to make a decision, right? And you'll notice in the background of the report, that specific language is in there. We say, oh, these improvements are necessary, cost-effective, and feasible. And we talk about that things. That's why that language is in there, is we're trying to be very, very clear that we're following the state statutes on that. So then, after we've prepared the report, we bring that to you for your approval, and you can receive the report and order plans and specifications. Usually at that time, we will either, well, we may call for a hearing at that time. Another thing that we will do is usually ask that the council authorize us to or plan for us to go all the way through the process before holding the public hearing. The public hearing can be held before you order the plans. For most of our projects, we like to get all of the information for you, which includes going all the way through receiving bids. And because sometimes our estimates aren't that good, we like you to have the best possible information before you commit to the really expensive part of building the project. So we will typically go all the way through bidding, then hold the public hearing, and ask that you order the improvements and then award the bid. Again, some of these steps are interchangeable. The one that absolutely isn't is that you have to order the improvements before you can award the bid. So what we're doing tonight is we're following that more typical process. So we're asking that the council receive the report, order plans and specs. This is one that we've already been working on the plans and specs, so we're ready to have you also approve those and authorize ad for bids. Our intent is to receive the bids on February 5th and then bring it to the council at a public hearing on February 24th, I believe is what we have on there. Okay? And the public hearings are typically held at the council meeting. We advertise them that they won't start before 5:45. So usually the council runs through a couple of their preliminary actions, and then we'll pause, hold the public hearing, and upon the conclusion of the public hearing, we would ask that you order the improvements and award the bid. Another thing that with ordering the improvements, the state law specifically says when you hold the public hearing, that's good for up to 6 months. So sometimes there's maybe some public comment or there's concerns about the cost and you want to wait to make a decision. And we've done that sometimes at Moorhead where we've held the hearing and then we hold it open to a future council meeting. But you have up to 6 months to actually order the improvements. But remember, you can't award the bid until you order it, so some of that factors into it. And then the other thing that has to be done is within 12 months of ordering the improvements, you have to award a bid. And so sometimes we have you ordering improvements for a new housing subdivision, but we're not doing everything at once. We might be doing the final wear course 5 years down the road. We have to have you by resolution, when you order the improvements, specify there's a different timeline, so that allows us to use that public hearing to cover everything. A good example of that right now, actually, is the improvements going on around the mall. The council ordered the full scope of improvements, but we're doing things in phases because it's really hard to maintain traffic through the area if we just tore it all up at once. And so there's different phases going on there. And then the other steps that happen after we award the bid and go through the construction process, once we finish the project, we'll hold an assessment hearing and you'll adopt the assessment roll. And that's actually a process that can be done. Again, some of these things are interchangeable. You can do that even before awarding the bid. As long as you've already ordered the improvements, you could even hold the assessment hearing before awarding the bid. We typically don't do that, although for most of our street projects, we have a flat assessment rate and that won't change, so their assessment won't change. But people are usually not happy to be paying the specials anyway. They're really not happy if the project hasn't even been built. So we typically don't do that, but it is allowed by statute. So the really important thing is anytime we're using special assessments to partially fund a project, we will have at least 2 public hearings. One before the improvements are built, and then we'll have another one that happens after the improvement is built. And as a result, people do get their opportunity to provide public input, and since most of our projects that we're doing this for are street projects, most of the resolutions that you will see us do, well, typically if we're just asking you to approve the plans and do things like that, we just like to have those as consent agenda items because there will be opportunity later to do the public hearing and full comment. So typically, you will see these items listed as a consent agenda on the item. Obviously, if there are questions that come up, you can pull them off consent and ask questions on that, but that is the normal process that we have. So if you have any questions about that?
Thank you, Mr. Trowbridge. Are there any questions from council members? If not, I would be looking for a motion, and I'm just looking to our city attorney. I believe that we could take 11A and B together.
Yes, Mayor, you could take them together.
Okay. So be looking for a motion for 11A and B.
So moved to approve 11A and 11B.
Is there
Wait,
a
seconds.
Okay, Niesemeyer with the motion, White with the second. Again, one more opportunity for any comments, discussion, questions. Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Nelson?
Aye.
Mattson?
Yes.
Niesemeyer?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Borgen?
Yes.
McDougal?
Aye.
Hendrickson?
Aye.
Thank you, and that motion carries. Moving on to Public Works, I will turn this agenda item over to our Public Works Director, Paul Fiechner.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here tonight to give an update on the Reimagine Romkey project, on how that project has been coming along here and get a resolution for proceeding with construction. Early in 2024, the City Council approved a project budget for the Reimagine Romkey, and that was also with the acceptance of the Outdoor Recreation Legacy Partnership Program grant that we received to help fund with the project. So with that direction, we put together a design team. We have YHR Partners as the lead architect on the project, and Gas Construction as our construction manager. Here tonight, we have Adam Pangrick with YHR and Jordan Vadnez with Gas Construction, if there's any questions. But we had those two groups work with city staff, including Parks and Recreation, our aquatics team, park maintenance, and our facilities team to put together the full design for the project as a whole. Because we have the designers and the construction manager together, gave us an opportunity to work through all kinds of different design scenarios, figure out the estimates for those, the cost impacts for those designs, and make adjustments accordingly, which was very helpful throughout the process. So this allowed us to keep the project on schedule and on budget. One of the things we did in 2024 is we put together an early bid package for the demolition of the existing pool. So we demoed the pool and the pool house, and had the opportunity last fall to put in the foundation for the new pool house building. Really set us up for success here in 2025. That work was fully completed here before freeze up. While we were doing the demolition work, we also completed the full construction packet as far as the design and got together the bids. So we did publish the bids for the project and received those bids back here in December of 2024. We had favorable pricing and were able to put in all of the amenities that we had originally planned for. So it was really looking good. If you take a look at your packet that was provided here, there is a site plan that was provided, kind of shows all of the amenities and the layout for the park itself. And also there's some renderings on the pool building and the pool facility on what that will look like. Next steps here are to secure the contracts so we can start construction in the spring here of 2025. So the resolution, the proposed resolution tonight is to amend our guaranteed maximum price with gas construction. This will establish a guaranteed price for the construction of the project itself. It will also include the construction manager fees and contingency funds if we so need them. Like I said, because we had that design team put together early on, it really allowed us to hold to budget here. So the amendment that we're proposing is completely within the budget, and everything's on track as far as schedule and budgeting. And the construction schedule that we have right now is to start early spring 2025 here when weather allows, and we will have substantial completions spring of 2026. So we aim to have the pool open for 2026.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions from council members? Councilmember Niesmeyer.
I just want to say, Mr. Fichtner, that I am delighted to hear all of the positive feedback. I know it took a great deal of collaboration and staff labor to make this possible. To hear that we are on budget and on track just gives me goosebumps. That is very rare, particularly when taking on a project of this size. I also want to recommend for residents to take a peek at the park concept as well as the sort of digital visual features. Thank you for mentioning those in our packet. Most people just pull up the agenda when they're watching us while cooking dinner on YouTube, and it's within the full packet that really allows people to see all of the detailed specifics. I know people are really looking forward to the park being done, right? And having a pool and a sliding hill, and so many number of things. And so it's not so much a question, but really a comment and appreciation for all of the work that has gone into it. And I also want to thank our two representatives who are here to answer questions. But all I am is just going to say thank you for all of your work. It is a delight to have this coming to our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions at all? If not, I would be ready to entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved, Niesmeyer.
Second, McDougall.
Motion and a second. Again, any further discussion or any discussion at all? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Nelson.
Aye.
Mattson.
Yes.
Niesmeyer.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Borgen. McDougall.
Aye.
Hendrickson.
Aye.
And that motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Fichtner, for coming and giving that overview, and also to Jordan and Adam for coming in case any questions came up. Looking forward to 2026. Fingers crossed that we'll have a really short winter and you can even get started early in 2025. All right, moving on to mayor and council reports. Are there any council members who have reports from boards or committees? Councilmember Niesmeyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to highlight how within our packet we listed a whole number of new appointees to committees and commissions in the city of Moorhead, Clay County, and a bunch of our other opportunities. And if you would like to see your name on that list, please continue to submit an application. It's short, it's sweet, and it's fabulous, but I want to elevate and raise up those who have volunteered and have been appointed to a new board or commission. And if the city isn't big enough for you, the state of Minnesota also has opportunities listed on the Secretary of State's website. That application is a little longer than the city of Moorhead's application, but I highly encourage us to have voices from greater Minnesota on those opportunities. My report is from the Cass Clay Food Commission. The Cass Clay Food Commission has been around for 10 years, so this is our 10-year anniversary. Be looking for some fabulous things coming from the commission in 2025. What I also can highlight is that we have a wonderful opportunity to engage with community members. We meet bi-monthly from 10:30 to noon. That might not be a great time for you to come and send comment, but you can send it ahead of time. Or if you've got an idea for some framework or blueprints that we should work on in the metropolitan area that deal with the food systems, I highly encourage anybody to reach out with an idea or an interest or even a concern. Maybe you would like something to change in our community. You can do that via the Cass Clay Food Commission. That's what we're there to do. The Action Network is just one leg of the commission, and if you would like to participate, many of those events are nights and weekends, and they have a newsletter that comes out the first Friday of every month. So please look for that. You can find details on the Cass Clay Food Commission and on the Action Network just with a quick Google. So I look forward to seeing more comments and interaction with the Cass Clay Food Commission coming soon.
Thank you, Councilmember Neesmeyer. Councilmember White.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I wanted to thank Inclusive Moorhead for the social event that they organized yesterday. I know that Councilmember Mattson and Niesemeyer were able to attend that as well. And I wanted to just take a minute to acknowledge the passing of our past council member, Nancy Otto. I was able to attend the memorial yesterday, and it was great to learn about more about her family and about her involvement on council, and I know that her legacy will continue on into the future. I know places like Davie Park, she got involved with city government because she and some others organized to save Davie Park, and that's just one of the things that, again, she'll have that lasting legacy. So I just wanted to take a minute to express my deep gratitude for her service and to express my condolences to her friends and family. Thank you.
Any other council members have updates on boards or committees? All right, seeing none. So my reports, I apologize now, they're a little lengthy because I haven't given a report for almost a month. So since December 9th, actually. I did want to recognize the fact that we had several individuals who had served the city of Moorhead for decades. Lori Van Beek, 42 years, Holly Heitkamp, 23 years, and Leanne Wallen, 30 years of service to the city of Moorhead. These are huge shoes that each one of these women are leaving. We are going to have to fill those shoes, but wanted to publicly thank them for all of their decades of service. I also want to thank Clay County Commissioner Frank Gross, who also retired after serving on the county commission for 12 years. He did a lot for our community as well. December 11th, I was invited, as with City Manager Molly, to tour a Place for Hope, which is a recovery and a wellness center and also another food shelf in the city of Moorhead. Daryl Vic is the executive director, and if you Google A Place for Hope, you'll be able to find out more information about the food shelf, which is just another area in that part of Moorhead within the industrial park off of, well, I believe it's off of 12th Avenue for folks to be able to get nutrition. December 13th, I spoke at the M-State Healthcare Simulation Center ribbon cutting, which is an incredible amenity that we have for individuals who are seeking those types of degrees through M-State. it's really a state-of-the-art facility that a lot of students are going to be able to practice on. They have like electronic dummies that look and respond like real humans. It's really incredible. So congratulations to M-State. There were also a number of us who met with the Fargo Forum editorial board and gave an update to the forum on all the happenings within the city of Moorhead. And we were told by the editor that folks from Moorhead hadn't met with them for over 20 years. So it was good to provide information and update and establish more of a routine as far as getting them information about things that are occurring in Moorhead. There were two chamber meetings in regards to working with our legislators. Senator Kupek, Senator Johnson, Rep. Joy attended both of the one, if not both, of these chamber meetings to discuss our upcoming legislative session. The number one priority for the city of Moorhead, again, is our flood mitigation work, which is 7 lift stations at the tune of $16 million. On the latter part of December, there was a Metro Flood Diversion Finance meeting, Moorhead, Clay County Joint Powers Authority board meeting, and then Fargo FM Diversion Authority meeting, which was my last meeting in 2024 as the chair of the Metro Flood Diversion. Just to update new council members, just some information about the Flood Diversion Authority. The chair position rotates between the mayor of Moorhead, the mayor of Fargo, and a Cass County commissioner. So every third year, the mayor of Moorhead gets to be the chair of the diversion, which is an undertaking. In 2024, there was actually more progress made with the flood diversion than ever before in the U.S. Army Corps portion of the project. We have 3 inlet structures. The diversion inlet structure is at 99% complete. The Wild Rice structure is 98% complete, and the Red River structure is 70% complete. The Red River structure is the biggest and has more concrete than the combination of the other 2 structures combined, and also includes 16 miles of pile drive. The U.S. Army Corps also completed the I-29 road raise, and the southern embankment is about 75% complete. To give you an idea of what the amount of work that has gone into that, so far they've placed about 850,000 cubic yards of embankment, and we still have 25% more to go. On the Red River Valley Alliance, or the channel portion of the project, which is being constructed by ASN Construction, which is an arm of the Red River Valley Alliance, all 19 channel crossings are now under construction, and the entire 30 miles of the channel are being worked on. There are also 2 aqueducts that are being worked on, and the aqueduct is basically a river that is going over another river. That's on the Maple River and the Cheyenne, and those are also being worked on. In regards to land management, last year we closed on 120 parcels that were needed to operate the project. We still have a number of projects that need to be closed on. Many of those are in eminent domain right now. As part of making sure that the project is very sustainable, resilient, we have planted also 3,508 trees, and also planted 1,077 acres of native grasses. The other big event that occurred last year was at the very end, we hired a new executive director, and that executive director is the former Cass County engineer, Jason Benson, who is also Brigadier General. He will be starting with the project on February 1st. In regards to the Regional Red River Dispatch Center, we are making great progress on that new building, and that should be open and operable sometime in 2025, and that is going to be a great new space for our dispatchers, the individuals who are really being the directors of our public safety in our metro community. I also got the opportunity to tour the Moorhead Armory and was given a tour by Major Hendrickson. There is a gym up at the Armory that can be rented. So you would just need to contact the Moorhead Armory and talk to them about that. Also had an opportunity to be on the Steve Hallstrom's show on January 2nd to talk about the great things that are happening in Moorhead. Along with that, the State of the Cities, which there were several hundred people that attended that. I was part of that chamber event along with the 4 other Metro mayors. Just want to thank the chamber for putting that on and giving us an opportunity to talk about the great things happening in our community, the event sponsors, and a special gratitude to Ted Horan, who is a Moorhead resident, works at RDO, and is a Downtown Moorhead Inc. board member who spoke and took an extra 2 minutes of time because he just said that there was so much happening in Moorhead that he felt that we deserved it because we hadn't had that time for a while and all of the things that are happening. And then just this afternoon, which is also very exciting as well, I was able to give the oath of office to 2 new Moorhead police officers who are starting their field training program, and that is Joel Brault and Bethany Ledbetter. One is a new hire, one is a lateral hire. So they will be starting, and that program is about 4 months, give or take a few weeks. And then on my list here, last but not least, I wanted to just say that yesterday was the celebration of former City Council member Nancy Otto, and just condolences to her family and gratitude to all the work that she did. I was not able to attend, but I was thinking of how many people likely attended that celebration of her life. And with that, I will turn it over to City Manager Molly.
Thank you, Mayor. No updates. You sure covered a lot. But I do want to, other than to say welcome to new and returning council members. Please know that your staff team is a group of solid professionals who stand ready and eager to continue serving this great community. So looking forward to the year.
Thank you, City Manager Molly. We do not have an executive session tonight, and the only new business is we have 3 new council members and a returning council member that were sworn in tonight. So welcome, everyone. And with that, it is 6:25, and we are adjourned. So good night, Moorhead.